So we've got this G chord here. Now, this is the grip that I get. But the thing I want you to understand is all those other notes are available to me. Just like I changed that. That's the Dylan G. Yeah, and then put in that third finger on there. Just means I'm acquiring that note. I'm adding that note to the equation. But remember, there was another B here, wasn't there? So I could think to myself, well, hang on, if I've got my G there like that. But I've taken that B out. I've got one here, but what if I want it on this string? I have to change my grip slightly and put that on there. And I can mute out the lower third note. Instead of having that note there, I can mute that string and replace it and throw it up here. Okay, so essentially that's all I'm doing. It's like I'm rearranging the triad. Okay? So that's a really useful way to play that. What I absolutely adore about the key of G is, look at the open strings, guys. Are any of them illegal moves? When I mean illegal moves. Are some of those open strings off limits? No, they're not. They're in the pattern. So the beautiful thing is, if I play a G here like this, yeah, I can have that finger off and I'm still playing notes from the scale. So it becomes another name. So we get something completely different, and then I have to tally up what it is that I've got. I've got the root here. If that was open, that would be a second. This is the fifth. This is the root. This is a fifth. This is a root. So this is a G sus2. But it's a muddy G sus2. I think those two notes are too close to each other for it to really, really stand out. Okay, well, I like that sound. I like the sound of a G sus2, so I know that that's an A there. Using an A, an open A there. Well, what if I put it up an octave and then put it into my shape? And look, lo and behold, if I look at that, that's the second fret on my G string. I'm covered with G's. I've got a G there and a G there. I don't need to worry about taking one out of the equation here. So I can play it like this. There's a G sus2. So that over this, listen to it texture-wise. Or... that's nice. Now, what I like to do is state the obvious here, guys. Look at where that first finger was for that G sus2 there. I can move that first finger. It was there for the G chord. I can move it there and I can move it there. So let's just look at that. That's lovely as it is. So look. So there's places... and you can hear that I get a melody within the chord. Yeah. So just that. Now, do you need to know the name of it? It's nice to know the names of it. And I could look at my diagram and I could think to myself, so that's going to be a 6. I've got a 6 there, so I've got a G6, I've got a G sus2. But overall, if you don't want to think about that, you just play the shapes. You can do a little run in there. So you can bring ideas from the scale in there. Now another one that I love, 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 love. If you want to get some dexterity going with this, the first finger can play these notes here. The pinky can play these two here. I'm targeting the D string and the G string at the 4th fret. So if I play that chord that I was playing there, I've got this finger that I can take off. I'm going to knock the thin E string out of the equation, but just for simplicity of sound. So that is my core chord, really. I've got that there, but I could put my pinky over there. And that was my 3rd before, and now when I put it here, what is that note there, guys? Can you see on the map? The 7th, yes. And doubling it up here, look, using that note there, the 2nd fret of the thin E string, I can double it up there if I want to. It's a major chord with a major 7, so it's just going to be a G major 7. And it's a lovely way of doing it, but what I do like to do is develop this in and amongst this. Yeah, to get these fingers going, we've got an open D, 2nd fret of the D, 4th fret. We've got the root on the open G string, 2nd and 3rd. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes that we can go at there. We're playing a scale within the shape of a chord. Now, you don't have to play the scale, but it's a good finger exercise. That's an interesting one. Looks like a power chord. If I invert it, you get a 3rd, but if we put that inside it, I love this sound. So this map is just wonderful for creating things like that. I'm always really close to my standard G grip. But those for me are the prime targets. First finger movement across there. Yeah. Don't forget the old G/F sharp as well, which leads to an E minor for what I call connecting chords. Yeah, so we go. And like I was saying with this one, this is a lovely G major 7. Yeah. If I do that with the index finger and take the pinky off. That's almost like the equivalent of a G7, but a major 7 version. Yeah? But it's a lovely sounding chord. And that's the way I kind of see my G. Now, the other one that we can use, actually, which is worth putting in there, remember, because this belongs to this chord. These change with every shape that we're going to use. But I want to show you this 4 here. If you've ever come across the G grip like this. So there's this way of playing a G, which is what I call the Dylan. This is the Oasis G, and this is what I kind of think of as being a folky G, yeah? Now what you do is you put your first finger on that first fret of the B string there, right? Now, I've got a 3rd present, so this becomes an add 11, but if I get rid of that 3rd there, that is now a G sus 4. Lovely sounding chord. What I like to do as well is merge chords together. This note here is the 6th. Now, really, if you think to yourself, hang on, that's a C in 2nd inversion. Look, there's a C with the 5th in the bass. It's a C/G. That's great. And then a G like this. And to be fair, guys, I love to play a G just like this. Muting out the A string, don't play the E string, thin E string down here. Ring out the D, G and B strings there. So if I play it like that, that's a G. It just shows you what you can get away with. It's just utilising those open strings here. If I move that over there, you can see the G shape. I'm just using that there, not playing that B there, and I'm not thinking about the E string there, so I'm just playing that. And then if I want that 2nd inversion C, then all I need to do is put these 2 fingers on. So it's going from a G to a C. Look how economical this is. You're playing a song and it goes G, C, G, C, G, C. If you played a G like this, look at the hand movement. How much movement you've got to make to get there. Whereas if you do this version, all you need to do is focusing on putting these two fingers on here. And really, that's just like an A minor 7 shape there. So you can see how we can utilize that there, that simple G. Although it might feel like cheating, the chord police will say, well, that's not a good way to play a G. And you think to yourself, I've got to play the full shape, otherwise I'm not doing it right. There's so many ways to play these chords. And that's what we're looking at here. So the map is telling us where the safe zones are to put our fingers, where not to put our fingers as well. So let me get on to the next chord.